David here with Figboot on Pens, back again with a special fountain pen review. I say it's special because what I have for you today are, in my opinion, two absolutely gorgeous pens from Taccia. While at the recent San Francisco pen show, I saw these pens at the Taccia table and they are really attention-grabbing. There are two pens from their Fossils in the Sky collection. They are the Raiden Shadow and the Sunset Peacock. What I'm going to do today is go over the parts and features of these two luxury pens, talk about what I care for and what I don't care for about them. I'll show some measurements, size comparisons, and provide a writing sample. Thanks go out to the good folks at Taccia for providing these two pens on loan so I could share them with you. The Fossils in the Sky collection is comprised of 5 different models, 4 of which feature the use of Rankaku technique of inlaid quail's egg. There is the Rosewood, which is a nice deep red. Then there is the Lapis Blue, which is a vibrant darker blue. And the Shadow, which provides a nice contrast between the black urushi and white quail's egg. One of the pens incorporates Raiden Makie as well. That is the Raiden Shadow. And then there is the Sunset Peacock, which has the Raiden Makie and gold lacquer accents. And as I mentioned, the pens I have in my possession are the Raiden Shadow and the Sunset Peacock. These are stunningly beautiful pens. They are large, oversized pens, which are roughly based on the Sailor King of Pen model, but they're slightly larger all around. For Taccia, their base model like this is called the Empress. The base material of this pen is ebonite. There is the Raiden Shadow, which has the eggshell and Raiden, and then there is the Sunset Peacock with Raiden and the gold lacquered trim. Both pens I have here are the artist proof, so they might differ slightly from the final product. I received these without the standard packaging, but I believe they arrive in a nice softwood box, and also included as a pen wrap as well as a bottle of matching ink. I'm going to focus this review on the Raiden Shadow, but I wanted to show you a couple of close-up photos of the Sunset Peacock. The gold trim is a very glittery gold. It's vibrant without being overdone. It's extremely classy and looks great in contrast with the Urushi Black and the Rainbow Raiden. I'll show you more of this pen during the writing sample, but like I said, let's focus on the Raiden Shadow for now. I've always loved eggshell work on fountain pens. I previously reviewed my pen from Mr. Cypress, which incorporates that technique of the eggshell look. That one uses duck egg, while this Taccia uses quail egg. It takes several months to complete the hand-laid eggshell and Raiden on these pens, and with this complex and flowing design, I can understand why it takes so long. It is beautiful, though. Let's take a look at the top of the cap. It is rounded. I like how the two thin lines of eggshell merge into a diminishing end to the design. Then we have the clip, and I just love this design. The clip itself is rather traditional in shape, but having the eggshell taper down and the Raiden expand the further down the clip it goes looks amazing, and is a very nice way to combine both of those materials in a unique way. I like this physical clip more than some that are on Taccia's other models. For some of their other models, the clip is a bit more rounded and kind of pinched in the middle. I just care for this design a bit more. The cap tapers up, straightening out only about very close to the end of the cap. There is no cap band or external branding on this pen. There is a small step down from the cap to the barrel. I appreciate how well the techniques match up from the cap to the barrel. There is a single cap thread, so the design will always match up. The barrel is straight for about 1.5 inches before slowly tapering down to a rounded end. The cap twists off in just over 2 rotations. There is a spring-loaded inner cap here, so when uncapping, you'll feel a little bit of that spring separation. And when capping, you'll need to depress the cap just a little bit, but I find the spring tension to be adequate, meaning that I don't find it to be too strong. You don't need to push down too hard when capping the pen. Once you have removed the cap, underneath you will find a two-tone 18 karat gold Sailor King of Pen nib stamped with the Taccia's logo. The King of Pen nib is one of my favorite. I really love the size and the performance. It's just an outstanding overall nib. The pens in this series are available in either medium or broad. And here's a look at the plastic feed. The section is rather thick. It begins with a slight flare and angles up only slightly before the threads and a small step up to the remainder of the barrel. I like that the eggshell is extended onto the section, and I like that it's only extended about halfway down. You could feel the bumps of the eggshell when gripping the pen. They're smooth bumps. It's not uncomfortable at all. I just like how my grip, when it's close to the end of the section, it's mainly on the smooth eggless portion, and the back part of my grip can feel the texture. On my Mr. Cypress eggshell pen, there's a thicker outer coating of clear urushi which smooths out the pen, and you really don't feel that texture. But I really like that you do on this pen. When I feel it on my grip, as well as the remainder of the barrel on the inside of my palm, it helps remind me that a highly skilled artisan took months to create this piece of functional art. On the underside of the section, it does have the signature of the artist, as well as the number of this pen. Each of the pens in this series are limited editions of 88 units. The pen is not designed to post. It does kind of sit on there, but that's fine by me. This is a large pen, and I typically don't like posting my urushi pens. Urushi is a natural material, and I wouldn't want to risk marking up the material, especially the eggshell. This is a cartridge converter pen. This model is closely related to the Sailor King of Pen, and for as much as I love the different variations of that model I have in my collection, the converter and the housing leave something to be desired. I actually like the extended portion of the housing. The converter sits in here rather deeply, and there's a little oval ink window which does a good job of showing you your ink situation. But I really wish the ink capacities of these converters were larger. The King of Pen nibs in my collection are mostly very nice and wet and juicy and go through this smaller amount of ink rather quickly. A bit quicker than I would like. Overall, though, this pen feels extremely luxurious and substantive in the hand. This is a luxury pen, and it feels like it. It's made from high-quality materials, and the application of those materials requires exquisite craftsmanship and tremendous skill. At authorized Taccia retailers, you will find the Raiden Shadow as well as the Sunset Peacock for right around $3,000. The three models, which only have the eggshell and not the Raiden, are just under $2,400. Like I said before, these are luxury pens. When it comes to pens in this price range, there are some pens which I feel like the price is a bit exorbitant for what is brought to the table, but I don't feel that way about these models. After spending time with both of these pens, I feel that both are priced appropriately. Both are incredibly beautiful, and I appreciate Taccia letting me test these pens out on loan. I care for both of these pens greatly. Okay, now it is time for some measurements, size comparisons, and then I'll give you a closer look at this Sunset Peacock, as well as provide a writing sample. Okay, so here we have the Taccia Raiden Shadow, as well as the Sunset Peacock. I'll give you another close-up look at the work on this pen. It's just incredible, especially over here with this design. I just like it tremendously. It just looks really sharp and really well done. And it's something that I am enjoying playing with, and I'm going to regret having to give this pen back. In regard to the Sunset Peacock, I wanted to give you a closer look at that. The designs are fairly similar, and I think that the designs almost look like a peacock feather in a way. But you can see that this has the Raiden as well as the gold paint on there, and it just looks gorgeous. You can see here on the section that it is a bit textured there, or basically a gradient, and then there's that two-tone nib as well. In regard to size comparisons, I said it was very similar to the Sailor King of Pen. This is the King of Pen in Ebonite. You can see it's just slightly larger. Then this is a Classic Pens LB5, which is a little closer in length because it is a little bit longer than the King of Pen. And then here it is with a Mont Blanc 149. In regard to some other pens, here it is with that Mr. Cypress eggshell that I had reviewed earlier. And you can see it just has a different eggshell pattern on here. Then here is a Pilot Custom Urushi. And finally, we have a brand new pen from Visconti, which is an exclusive to the pleasure of writing out of Carmel, California, and that would be the Lover's Point. I think that's an interesting resin, and look for a review of that pen coming up in the near future. In regard to uncapped comparisons, here it is with the Sailor King of Pen Ebonite. Here it is with the Mont Blanc 149. And then here it is with the Pilot Custom Urushi. Okay, here we go with the writing sample for the Taccia. We'll say Fossils in the Sky. And this is the Raiden Shadow. I believe this is the medium nib. Like I mentioned, they come in medium or broad. And the ink that I'm using is one of my favorite inks, which is Diamine Pumpkin. This is what the ink looks like. It's not an overly vibrant orange. It's just slightly muted. This is what it looks like with Papier Plume's Bloody Pumpkin. And then here is Ferris Wheel Press's Pumpkin Patch. And this is what the ink looks like in the Diamine 80 milliliter bottle. And here we go with the rest of the writing sample. This nib is spectacular. I am very fond of the Sailor King of Pen nibs. This nib is everything that you would want out of a luxury pen nib. You can get a decent amount of line variation out of there. The ink flow on here is rather generous. In regard to reverse writing, it is a little sharp, but lays down an extra fine line. And in regard to the fast writing, the feed keeps up just fine. So there we have the Taccia Raiden Shadow and Sunset Peacock. I think these are two extraordinary additions to the Taccia's lineup. And if you are in the market for a pen in this price range, then these are outstanding. They're something I care for greatly. So until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.